I'm Mrchefrahman. Thank you for tuning into my show. I really appreciate all the support everybody's giving me out there and helping me spread the word, you know. Thank you very much for that. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a nice little Asian style roast of lamb chops. We're going to serve it with a bit of rice. I'll show you how to cook it in a rice cooker and how to add a few flavours and make it a bit more fancy. And literally the ingredients you use for this is very limited. You don't have to go and buy 1,000 ingredients, none of that. It's all the basic stuff and you will definitely enjoy it. And my mouth's starting to water just thinking about it. So to start off this recipe, these are the ingredients which you need and the tools. And you need a little pot as well, which is down there somewhere. So I've got 5 lamb chops there. Nice and ready to go. Make sure if it's frozen, you defrost it and give it enough time to defrost. We've got 2 cups of rice there. I'll show you the procedures of how to cook it. And on the marinade for the lamb, we're going to be chucking in all of these spices here. You've got some garlic, chili, a little stock cube, some cardamom, cloves, cinnamon and bay leaves. And then I've got a little bit of orange peel, which will give it a little nice zing to it. And then I've got some onions, tomatoes, a mixture of madras spice and a bit of chili flakes, and then you've got some ginger as well there, which I've peeled and got ready to cook. The most important part about when you marinate in meat is you need to make your marinade simple. So for our marinade, we're going to use onions, some spices, then we've got some chili flakes. You saw the mixture of all that, and a tin of chopped tomatoes, which is going to help us make our sauce a bit more vibrant and add a bit of tang to it as well. We're going to start off by getting a pan like this, and we're going to slice all the onions in there with a little bit of vegetable oil. So you're going to start off by slicing your onions. Take the core out and just slice nice and thinly. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember that, because we're going to blitz it all up into a little pulp. Even today, after being working in the restaurant for so long, onions still make me cry. I've got a video on my YouTube channel telling you how it will help you. Little tips on how to stop onions from making you cry. Just whack all your onions in there, in your pot. Add a little pinch of salt and some veg oil. And we're going to get this on the heat gently, okay? Careful not to burn your onions. So every now and then just stir and just don't let it catch on the bottom of the pan. While that's cooking, you want to start cutting your garlic and your ginger. So cut your onions and garlic roughly and chuck it into your onions just when your onions start cooking a bit. Okay? You want to prepare your marinade probably even the day before, and you want to marinate your meat about a day before you cook it. It's much better, but don't be alarmed if you haven't. You still give it at least an hour or a couple of hours for all that marinade to soak into your meat, then it should be alright. But the best way is do it the day before and be ahead and let your meat really suck in all that marinade. The onions are sweated now. I'm going to add the garlic and the ginger, which I've diced up in there as well, and let it continue to sweat. And then stir it around a bit, obviously, so it don't catch. And cook evenly as well. We want to really soften up these onions. We don't want them hard, we don't want no bite, we want it nice and soft, alright? If you feel like your pan is starting to burn, just add a little tiny bit of water, which will stop it from caramelizing and burning up. Now we're going to add a pinch of chili flakes. I'm going to chuck in my chilies in half. Okay, kept the seeds in, kept everything in there. I'm just going to chuck that in as well. Now I'm going to put a lid on top to stop it from losing all that moisture and all that flavour which comes from the onion. So you see all those flavours they are cooking together, the steam's coming out and it's really going up my nose and I can smell it and I'm getting excited. I just can't wait to see the end product and taste it. You want to get yourself a nice little cloth, clean. I use a blue cloth, it's very efficient, you can chuck it away after use. But if you've got a spice bag, that's great. So I'm going to chuck all of these little bits and bobs you see that I had on the plate. Cloves, the cumin and all that. And I'm going to roll it up like this. See? Yeah? And then tie it up like that. So now I have no problem of someone who's going to eat my food biting into a seed and it ruining their whole palate, you know what I mean? It's happened to me plenty of times, and this is literally just going to come out right at the end. So I chuck that into my pot as well. Make sure you use a nice clean cloth, yeah? Because if you're using a dirty one from your mum's laundry, I'm sure it will destroy your food and it's quite unhygienic as well. So stir that around, as you can see, get those flavours in there. And again, now I'll put the lid back on. This is a mixture of different spices which you might find in your every Bengali home or Indian home. This one inside here, I will list it down on my comments if anybody asks, that is, otherwise I'm not revealing my secret. But this will be going into my onions now, just before I add the tomatoes. So let's say a generous heap spoon like that, and stir that around. Now it gets tricky because it will start sticking to the pan, so it's best to lower the heat a bit. So you can see the colours from the spices are coming out. You could also smell that as well, and it's bloody amazing, that's all I could tell you. So you don't want to leave the spices in there too long cooking, because it will start burning and ruining your whole pot. Now we're going to add that oxo cube, and we're going to add 1 tin of chopped tomatoes, and we're going to fill this up with water in there and add that as well. Now everything that needs to go in your marinade is there. You just need to stir it a bit and put the lid on and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. With the lid on. So you see it's nicely simmering away there, and all the flavours are infusing and the onions starting to get soft as well. If only you can smell this. It's a shame that video can't pick up smell. I'm a bit of a chili addict, so in my sauce I'm going to put a cheeky little bit of this. You don't have to, but if you like spice, this will definitely tingle your taste buds. Boop. So now I can see it's getting thicker, the smell's getting even more intense. I tasted a bit and the salt level and everything is perfect. Tomatoes are broken down, onions are broken down. So I'm going to now start pureeing it. First of all, you want to get that little spice bag, remember, that we put in the cloth, and just place it on top of your lamb. And then the rest, I'll show you. See, it's all thick and nice. That goes into your blender. Careful not to splash in your eyes, because you might go blind. Right? Alright, that goes in. Get your lid on. Make sure you put all the little bits and bobs on before you start blitzing. Because I've seen people who start blitzing without the lid and they get it all over their face. carefully take my lid off. Make sure not to burn myself or my daughter, who's standing right next to me at the wrong time. And there you go. It's nice and thick. And that's going to be spread now over our lamb. So what you do now, you get your pieces of lamb, get it on a tray. You want to season it first, just to make sure that the flavour of the lamb can come out as well, rather than overpowering it with all the spices. Sometimes the first few times when I made this, I forgot to season the meat. So after I've made all that amazing marinade and everything, put the meat on, cooked it, then I've tasted it and I'll be like, oh, can't taste anything. So make sure you season your meat, okay? So on top of your meat, you're just going to literally pour your marinade over like that. You can use the same thing for chicken. It works actually better with chicken, but I'm showing you how to make it with lamb, so it's a bit different, and it's actually, you get different flavours out of it. Because the meat has its own flavour, you're going to get a different flavour out of this. So I've got plenty of marinade there, but I'm not going to be stingy or nothing. I'm just going to chuck it all in like that and stir it around a bit. You can either wear gloves or just stir it around like this with this, and then let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, because I'm not marinating this in advance, I'm making this as you see. So this has been marinated for about 5 minutes. I'm going to put it in the oven for on about 180 degrees for about 40 minutes. I want it to cook through all the way. We don't want it pink. Asian food does not serve pink meat. So this is going to be nice and cooked through, tender, and that marinade should help the meat become a bit more soft as well to the mouth rather than chewy. I've kept some marinade here, say about 4 of these spoons, and I'm going to put that into the rice, which is going to make the rice a bit more flavoursome and going to give it a bit of colour as well. There's something that came into our lives about 10 years ago. That is called the humble rice cooker. It's made our lives much easier. Even me, to be honest, I spent years struggling to get rice cooking perfectly. But with the rice cooker, I don't need to worry. So I'm going to show you how to make the rice with the rice cooker, but at the same time, give it flavours and tweak it a bit. So this is 2 cups of rice. Cups, I just use this to measure the cups. So I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to wash this in the sink, mixing my fingers through it till the water becomes clear. That will take the starch off, which will make it less sticky. So I've soaked the rice, I've washed it, and I've drained out all the excess water. This is basmati rice, which is like the gold of the rice world in India. So I've drained it all out. So now I'm going to add 2.5 cups of this. It depends on the rice really, how much water you add, but normally they say 2 cups of rice means 3 cups of water, just the extra 1 cup. But with this I'm going to put 2.5. 1 and 2. I'm going to add another half a cup, okay? I will make a video explaining more detail into rice, but right now, as I'm just doing the dip, before I bang it on the rice cooker, I'm going to add all that masala that I cooked up before. I'm chucking that in as well. This is something you probably won't see your mum do, but that's why I'm here. So you mix that marinade through your rice. I'm going to let that soak for about a few minutes just before I start cooking. Add a pinch of salt and then just whack it on the rice cooker and press cook. So it's easy as that. Once it clicks back to warm, that means your rice is almost ready to go. You gotta let it steam once it's cooked though. And while your rice is cooking, which will take about 15 to 20 minutes in total, you just want to keep on stirring your meat around so it doesn't dry out on the top. So my rice has clicked to the warm. I've just flaked it around a bit So I've just got a little spoon and just moved it around to help it steam a bit more and cook through all the way. My lamb has been in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes, and you can see the sauce is all starting to suck into the meat and it's got right thicker. I've stirred it around every say 10 minutes so it don't burn on one side, but they are now ready as well. So on top of my rice I'm going to be chucking in onion, which I'm going to slice thin, and then I'm going to fry it in oil till it becomes golden, and that's just going to liven it up a bit more. A bit of oil and just stir it around till it becomes golden. A bit more than that, keep on stirring. So that's about ready. You want to take this out and drain it on a bit of tissue and just add a pinch of salt. There you have it. There's the basmati rice that we've cooked with the crispy shallots on top of the rice, and then I've given 2 pieces of lamb, and you can see I've just put a little bit of coriander on top, and that just looks sublime. I've got to leave you guys now and I have to go and eat this because I can't wait anymore.